Oh my, it's Kellee White.
Hey, it's James Van Praagh.
What are you up to?
Thinking about changing the world.
Me too. We should do a show together.
What would it be about?
Let me show you.
Whee!
The James and Kellee Show.
That's the mystery.
No, it's not. Mercury's retrograde.
Mercury's in retrograde, so there would have been sound and dialogue, but there wasn't any because Mercury's in retrograde. We just checked it 2 minutes ago too. So
Yes,
sorry,
we
everyone.
did. Well,
So, well, that was my Talking to Heaven based on my first book, Talking to Heaven, and we played that, and you'll have to watch the movie now to get the dialogue because anyway, and I'm really happy because it kind of gave the movie away a little bit in that dialogue, that little cut. Someone's sending, but it's a really great miniseries for CBS, and well, the reason we did that was because tonight's show is all about the intelligence of the spirit world.
not the physical world.
Obviously not the human physical world because things, but yeah, and you know when I was researching this, looking into things I've done for the past in my research, it's just so hard, Kellee, to talk about in some ways the immensity of this. So we just gonna dumb it down for us humans in this tiny little box, which is something quite enormous, but we'll do the best we can.
Yes.
So when you talk about the intelligence of the spirit world, what do you think?
What do I think? I
Yeah.
think about, well, actually, we started talking about it this afternoon
We did.
after your show today, which
Yes.
I'd love you to tell the story, and which is why we played the clip.
Yes. Okay, so what we were talking about was also the intelligence of the spirit world. In that we have to first remember we're never alone. That there's always a force. There's a force around us, and the universe does conspire for our highest good. Always, we're never just alone. There's always the unseen world, and there's always synchronistic experiences and patterns and coincidences where things seem to just play out in the weirdest, and we've all had those very weird things happen. It's like, how did that happen? Because they're really pulling the strings on the other side of life. The universe pulls strings. I don't know how they do it. We don't know how, even mediums, we don't know how they do that. But there's a way of doing it. So we played Talking to Heaven because that to me was, well, I think all of our careers, all of our destiny, we have destiny points that we come
Yeah.
back to, go through various destiny points to learn various lessons. Some come back to heal, to enlighten, to share. And we come back for all different reasons. And I heard very early on in my life from a psychic when I was 18. She said, "You know, James, you're on your right path if things go smoothly. You're not on your right path if doors close and you have to go the other way. Then you're not listening to your higher self." Which is true. Anyway, to make a long story short about talking to heaven, the book came out and it was a #1 book. And this is just a weird story as we're doing it. And NBC television bought the rights to the book, and they were going to make a movie out of it. And they had the book for quite a while, and then I guess the option gate came up that they had to give it away, and CBS bought it immediately. So CBS bought that, and they hired a writer, John Pillmeyer, who did Agnes of God on Broadway, and lovely man. I worked with him for many months. He really worked with me, and I with him. We shared ideas, and it was great. He helped me help write it really with him. Well, everything was magical. I mean, it was magical in that, um, God, um, the the writer, the first writer that was on this script, he was on a plane and he's sitting there writing the script in the plane, and there's an empty seat next to him, and a lady sits down, and this woman is Mary Steenburgen, and she told me later that her father in the spirit world said, "You need to speak to him," and she said, "I never like to speak to people on planes, but he pushed me." So I said, "Hi, how are you?" And he goes, "Good." She goes, "What are you writing?" He goes, "It's so strange you're sitting next to me because I'm writing this script based on the book Talking to Heaven." And she said, "Oh, it's my favorite book. I've given it to so many people." And he said, "It's just so weird because this character I have is you, and I pictured you doing this character, which is very weird." And she thought it was strange. And she said, "Can I meet the author? You know him? I can arrange that." So again, make long story short, I met with Mary and Ted Danson at their house and did a reading for them. And I don't do a lot of readings, but I wanted to do that because she favored the book and she loved the book and so forth. Anyway, I did this reading, went very, very successfully. Ted didn't believe in this at all. I can tell you because he's spoke with us on television. He said, "James, I really don't believe it." I said, "That's okay, Ted. Whatever happens, happens." During the course of the reading, his father came through and he said, the father said, "Ted, I'm in my herringbone jacket and I'm in front of the fireplace with a glass of whiskey. Now, you know I'm in heaven if that's what I look like and I'm saying to you." And Ted was sitting on an ottoman, at which point, after I said that, Ted fell off the ottoman onto the floor. And I'm looking at him saying, "Oh, God, what did I just do to Ted? What did I say?" Anyway, after the reading after that night, Ted came up to me and he said, "James, that was incredible. My father used to wear that herringbone jacket every afternoon he came home from work. He'd put that on, sit in front of the fireplace, and have a whiskey." I said, "Wow." He goes, "No, James, he died that way. He died of a massive heart attack with that." So I went, so the next day, I got a phone call from the production company who was talking to heaven, and they said to me, "You know, James, we're having a problem casting this role of the medium." And I said, "Really? Why?" He goes, "Well, we tried Gary Sinise and some other people. No one wanted to play a medium back in '98." And they said Les Moonves at the time said they told him, "There's one more person I'm going to try. He has a contract with us. He's playing Becker right now, Ted Danson." And I said, "That's so weird. I was just with him last night. Now, what are the odds, right?" And the producer said, "Can you call him and ask him?" I said, "No, I cannot do that. I can't cross that line. It's confidential." And then what happened was Ted heard about the movie and he called me up and I said, "Well, Ted, it's up to you, but I think you really should do it because it'll open up a lot of minds and hearts of millions of people." So he agreed to do that. And the rest of his history. I went on the set in Vancouver, and I remember the first time I've been on a movie set, and there were all these trucks, production trucks, and I looked on the side of the trucks and it said Driscoll. Well, that's my mother's maiden name, Driscoll. And then was strange. And the first thought I had, well, I'm so happy that I'm able to, all these people are going to work, that I'm able in some way to bring these people to work and have money coming in. And then I looked around the set during the break, and there was a little James room, and he's 5 years old. And the wallpaper in the room is the exact wallpaper I had as a child in my room in Queens in New York. Exactly. And then
Wow.
sitting next to the table, the side table, the bed table, was a picture of Saint Teresa, who was my mother's patron saint. I'm like, okay, I got this now. And then
Wow.
during the whole thing, like, Diane Ladd played my mother, and Diane Ladd, I spoke to her on the phone once, and I said, Dan, I saw the dailies. You were amazing. How did you know? You walked like my mother had a stroke on the right side. I didn't tell anybody about that." She goes, "No, your mother did. So that's why I played it that way." No one knew.
Oh my
And then
God.
it was one thing after another, and it did real it was just everyone loved that movie, it's like the book, and that's really where Ghost Whisperer started because that movie was such a success. The miniseries was the top-rated CBS miniseries in history besides Jesus. Jesus was number 1, this was number 2, and because of
Wow.
that, they asked me, "Can you create a series?" And that's where, I'm sorry, I'm skipping Kelly. After
No.
that, it was so successful, they wanted to do another movie, so we did The Dead Would Tell starring Eva Longoria, starring yeah, um, Eva Longoria was in that, and before she was Eva Longoria was Anne Heche, and Eva Longoria. Now, before Eva Longoria, I went down to New Orleans when they were taping or shooting it, and it was during a break. And this girl comes over to me, a very pretty girl, and she goes, "Can I ask you a question, Mr. Praagh?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "I just finished a pilot. Do you think it'll be successful?" I'm like, "Well," and I said, "It's going to change your life." Well, 2 or 3 years later, I was on this, at Universal, and Ghostbusters stage was right next to Desperate Housewives, right? And
Wow.
I'm in the Universal, uh, at lunch there, having some lunch there at a table, and I looked, and there's Eva Longoria walking down the aisle, and we both look at each other at the exact same time, and we both started screaming. And I ran over to her and said, "Well, did it change your life?" The rest is history, as they say. And there are more and more things like that. But we've all had those. But that was intense. And that was almost a sense that it was kind of obviously destined to happen.
Yeah.
But I think when we follow that destiny, when we follow our light and we're aligned with it, those things do happen. I do believe
And
that.
your destiny was to be able to help the world with that there is no such thing as death. And so
Correct.
it's funny how we see things, it's often easier to see them in a movie. And
That's
you
right.
had, I think they all transpired or conspired to make this
Inspired.
happen.
Everyone, yeah,
Yeah.
everyone, and I
Wow.
think so. The intelligence of the spirit world. I think it goes way beyond us. I
Oh,
think it goes way beyond us. It's just like you can't
don't
even.
you think it has to do with before we incarnate, we are looking at our soul contracts and what we're going to do in this world, and that they're on the other side, they're looking at our contracts and saying, okay, everybody, now we need to have this happen, and we've got to put faith in this person and some hope over here.
100%. Kelly, I always go back to the analogy of a play, putting a
Yeah.
play on, putting a stage show. Like Shakespeare said, the world is, really players upon the stage. And it's so true because I think that we, on the other side, before we come in, we create this play, if you will, and we have the different characters, and we look at based upon the characters we've played in other lifetimes and how they really influence the characters in the play. And this time, the role will be the mother will be played by this person, the grandma, this person. You played the
Yeah.
daughter last time. Now you're going to play the son who commits suicide, or whatever it is. And each character has their role, and
Mhm.
it's really to move that play forward, to move that, if you will, the lives forward of growth and understanding and lessons about compassion and love. And I think that we live by example. I think that we teach others and help others by our example of how we live. That's really, I think, the best way we can do.
Yeah.
Um,
How do you think the best way, or how do you think the way the universe does shows us some intelligence from the other side? How do you get signs?
Well, I just all the time. I'm just for number one, you have to be open. You have to be open to the magic because magic happens all that magic is in the moments. Magic happens in the moment. So you can be open to it and don't describe something. Don't predetermine something. Don't have unrealistic expectations about something. Just being in the moment, living in that moment, and
Yeah.
you'll begin to see the magic of the moment. Because if we think about the past and we have regrets, or our mind is always in the past, we're going to miss out in that moment. Or again, the future. If we worry about the future, that worry energy there, we're not going to see the moment. We're going to be too caught up in the future. So I think it's better being in the moment. And I love the art of discovery. Every day I wake up and say, wow, what magic is going to happen today? What am I going to, learn today? Who's going to teach me something? How am I going to change your life? In some way, how do I change your life? And it's great. And I get excited when that happens during the day. I get excited about
Well,
that.
and we had a fun moment when we both hopped
Oh
on,
my
and
god,
we're
it's
both wearing
crazy.
purple today.
I can't it's so those things which happen so outrageous that you're like,
Yeah.
"How can that happen like that?" So,
I we're 2,000 miles apart, so I it wasn't like I said, "Did you get the memo?"
and I had a blue shirt and I took it off, and that does not work well.
Yeah,
I looked at my closet of 60, 70 shirts I have, purple.
that was it. Today was the purple day. Well, I have to read you this quote. I love this quote by Deepak Chopra, and he says, coincidences, they're clues from the universe. He says, once you understand the way that life really works with the flow of energy, information, and intelligence that directs every moment, then you begin to see the amazing potential in that moment. He says, mundane things just don't bother you anymore. You become lighthearted and full of joy.
True.
You also begin to encounter more and more coincidences in your life. He says, this is a state I call synchro destiny, which I thought was
I love that.
wonderful.
And it's
Yeah.
another way we say it is tuning into you're getting in tune or aligned with your higher self, your higher purpose, your higher self,
Yes.
living from the higher self, not the lower self, which is the human, but the higher self. Um,
Do you think that once you get in that zone of working with your higher self and becoming more of your higher self, that you see more coincidences, more synchronicity, more magic? Yeah.
I'm a living example of that. In that
Yeah.
I try to live that way all the time, and when I do, it's just incredible. And if you are positive all the time, we have a mutual friend, Jordy Fisher in Ohio, and I've never had anyone in my life who's all positive as could be. We joked about it yesterday because she said to when Kelly and a couple of years ago back, and Kelly met Jordy at my party I had, and Jordy lives in Ohio, and Kelly's moving to Wisconsin. And you said, Jordy, what's it like in the winter? And what'd she say?
You said it's where my soul renews.
In
So
the
we've had a
cold
lot of
snow.
we've had a lot of renewal going on right now, but she reframed it for me. And now I look at the birds, I look at the snow, and I actually went walking in the snow today. Thank you, Peggy Fitzsimmons, if you're listening. I
So
actually did it.
there's always a positive in the scenario. No matter what that scene is that you're playing, there's a positive, and we gotta remind ourselves always to stay the positive because the
Yeah,
negative is kind of like limiting, if you will. It's dense, it's limiting, and it brings us down. I think, besides faith and courage, and it's just to bring ourselves up. I had a lady today in soul care, and it was like and she was down, and she was blaming herself, and she wasn't happy. I said, "It's not no one else's responsibility to make you happy but yourself. You
yeah,
have to. No one will that we can show you the door, but you have to walk through it. And,
yeah,
we have to take responsibility to give ourselves joy, to love ourselves. And if it's like, just, it is what it is, and that's all that it is. I mean, really, life is tough. It's hard. We all know that it's really hard. Don't make it harder on yourself than it needs to be because, we
yeah.
don't need to. I read something from about universal intelligence I wanted to share from Tom Atlee. And he said, there is something about the universe, an elegant order in the way everything fits and unfolds, an inexplicable beauty in its living patterns and the mysterious depth and expressiveness of it all that reminds us of the brilliance we see in the works of great artists, scientists, engineers, and saints. Some people believe that human intelligence is a pinnacle of natural evolution and can undo anything nature has to offer, and that there is no God, and that nature has nothing remotely resembling consciousness or intelligence. Others say the nature of God's brilliance is greater than any human intelligence, ultimately awesome in its scope and endlessly surprising in its details, and that human intelligence is a small but elegant expression of the larger intelligence as much to learn from. And it goes on. He talks also about, and something we got to be very, very careful of, because when people start talking about the intelligence of the universe or spirit, religion gets involved. Many people fall back to religion and dogmas and creeds. And listen, that's one way to look at things, but I think it goes way beyond religions or belief systems. I think it's some.
Yeah.
I think those are, I don't know, dogma, creeds, belief systems you have to go through, or you've gone through many lifetimes in religions. You're working that out. I
Mhm,
did. I grew up Catholic, and I'm very happy I did. But at one point, it was like, it's done. 14 years
mhm.
of age, I heard a voice say, "God is much bigger than these four walls. Get out of this church and go."
Well, and let's talk about that. You actually heard it, right? You
I heard it.
actually
I was
heard
in
it.
seminary. I was at
Mhm.
pre-seminary. I was 14 years old. I was going to be a priest, and we had all the students had to go one at a time at the altar space and kind of meditate, contemplate, and it was during Easter weekend, and I went there and I sat and I was always when I went to church as a small child, I was always aware of beings around me, always aware of the energy around me, and I heard a clear voice say, God is much bigger than these four walls. You'll only find God outside these four walls, and I left that seminary like that.
But some people, one of the things that they can do is they can actually hear messages. You can, talk about the intelligence of the other side. You can actually hear it. I'll never forget when I was in college, I actually heard in my head and loudly a voice, and it said to me, "You can do this now, or you can do this later." And I said, "What? I can do what now or later?" Then I heard it again. "You can do this now, or you can do this later." I said, "What?" And then all of a sudden, I looked at this man, this young man across from me, and I heard, "You're going to marry him." And I went, "No, no." And I backed up. I was like, "That is that one? No, I don't think so." And that's exactly what happened. Didn't last long, but I had heard it. You can do it now or
Sure,
later. And I think it was really a karmic moment. You
sure,
know, how the universe works. You can do this now, or maybe in a few months, or 10 years, or another lifetime, you can
sure.
do this, but it's going to get done. I could hear it.
Sure, and we're always given choices too. And
Yeah.
again, the more you open, the more like you are, the more you open, the more you'll hear them, the more they'll
Yeah.
manifest for you. It's so true. Well, we got to be very careful. I find in my work that I've done all these years that the humanness of us doesn't get in the way and block truth. For instance, this is just one. For instance, there's many different thoughts here, but many times audience members will ask me about suicide, or they'll ask
Mm,
me about um, earthbound spirits. And listen, I did a show about it, Ghost
yeah.
Whisperer. It's a way of thinking. But honestly, my friend, a person I work with, another medium from England, an associate in Lynn Probert, who I've worked with, she answered this question when audience members said, what about earthbound spirits? And she sat there and she said, "What do you mean earthbound spirits? Do you think the intelligence of the spirit world would let someone just wander aimlessly in these vast places with not bringing them home? Do you think that would be? And you think someone want to stay in those places and not go home?" And that was a very interesting insight. And
I
Gordon
love
Smith,
it.
another British medium,
Mhm.
he answered the audience member. I was with him on this show. It was great. He said, "Darling, earthbound spirits, darling, the only ones that earthbound are you. We're the earthbound ones. They're all in spirit. We're the earthbound ones." And that's true. We are earthbound. But we've got to be very careful that we don't put our human belief systems onto a sense of a spiritual essence, if you will, because we
Yes.
get caught up in those dogma,
Mhm,
creed, laws of the human,
mhm.
the conditions of the human, and we apply them to a spirit, and it doesn't work that way.
Well, it slows the energy down.
It slows it's fear-based. Many times
It's
it's fear it's
fear-based.
it's
Yeah.
limiting, it's
Mhm.
limiting, and
Yeah.
and we really I think the secret is every day to just enjoy yourself, joy within self, and realize everything's happening for a reason. Even when things look really bad, which a lot of had a bad year last year, it's
Mhm,
causing us to stop, go
mhm.
within, think, "What's going on here? Let me assess this." Don't waste that moment, because once you
Right,
pass over spirit, you look back and say, "Why did I waste that moment of assessment where I could have really
right.
looked inside myself and really know what's going on?" So don't waste those moments, because those are the magical, those are those pivotal moments in your life for
Mhm.
that you're given to reassess your choices, what you think of yourself, the people around you, your values, and so forth.
Well, it's funny you use the term reassess because Mercury
Mm.
is retrograde right now until February
Is it,
20th.
Kelly? I couldn't
It
tell when there's
is,
no voices at the beginning of the yeah.
and
I
exactly,
can't
and you
everybody's like, "Well, our heads are spinning anyway from last year, so Mercury retrograde's nothing compared to"
but
right?
it's what you just said. It's to reassess, realign, redo, review, all of these things that with an RE in front of them. And now is a great time for everybody to really reassess, re-understand what you're doing, who you are, what in the world, what are you feeling right now energetically? Because energy right now is coming through for everybody. And what's out there spiritually for you? It's a wonderful time to assess that. What's going on spiritually?
How I'm doing that, and I don't know how everyone does it differently, but I work at my where I live, and I have gardens here, and I'm redoing the gardens, the
Yes.
landscaping. But I also feel like it's giving me life to redo these. It's giving me excitement in life, and I feel
Yeah.
like when I'm in that spiritual space of renewal, I'm on top of a mountain, and I'm excited about the new beginning. I'm writing a new book. I'm so excited about that. All these different things. I'm starting new creative things, and it's new. There's a newness, renewal,
Right.
sure, and it's
Yeah.
exciting. Renewal. It's really exciting.
And the more you create, James, the more magic comes through, the more signs from the universe, the more everything start to line up again, right?
Because you're giving it space to
Yes.
materialize and manifest. You're
Yeah.
giving it space.
Yeah.
You're giving permission to show it to me. I'm here. I'm ready. But when we get in the way of that, we limit it.
And it
We can't
sits.
see
It
clearly.
sits. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't see
Yeah.
clearly. It's very, very true.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Oh, that's interesting. Somebody says, Donna Peach says, I have not been happy for over 20 years. Well,
Well,
Donna,
why?
come
Donna, what? I
on.
think Donna was the one that called today in soul
Oh,
soul care. Donna, we went to this afternoon. So why aren't you happy? Like you're the only one that can make yourself happy. You can blame others, but when you pass over and you have your life review, you can't say my mother screwed around, my father screwed around me, I was abused. Guess what?
right,
You got to answer for yourself. Even though you had those conditions in your life, which you picked
right.
before you came back, you are the one who really has to take charge and be responsible for yourself.
Absolutely. Maria Carp Diem says, can spirit guides, angels, or loved ones on the other side help us with the creative projects, such as
You
writing
bet
a
they
book?
can. Oh, of course
Yeah.
they do all the time, but we have to help them to help us. How about that? Well, I
I
like
love
that.
that.
Thanks, Spirit. I'm just channeling this because it's true. We got to help them to help us. So
Which would be open.
be open to
Mhm.
possibilities, giving them energy, saying, I'm open to whatever happens, putting yourself through, I'm going to sit down and write today. Do what you have to do to help them. Don't just say,
Yes.
I'm ready. And I've seen that before. Be like, I'm ready. Where are they? You got to do
Oh
your
my
part.
God. Well,
You've
that's like
seen
when
that.
I do
No,
a reading for somebody. I'm ready. Oh, it just
yeah.
closes the energy.
You can't do spiritual bypass. It
Yeah.
doesn't work. It doesn't work. You
Yeah.
got to go through the process of it. It's true.
Yeah, that's so true. But expressing joy and living in the moment and being joy and being positive, that's when spirits can't wait to give you messages.
True. I want to go back to what this man says, Kelly. Excuse me.
Yeah.
This is a great one. A couple of things I got to read this. Humility is naturally an excellent place to begin our efforts to cooperate with the universal intelligence. Humility in this case simply means an honest appreciation of our own limitations and a real respect for the ancient and awesome wisdom of the greater intelligence, which we've embedded. Humility means starting from a place without arrogance, with flexible certainties, a place of respect, curiosity, wonder, and the willingness to learn. In every situation, we can manage it.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And, things show up when they're supposed to show up. Like if we talk about something, next thing, there it is. This is
Yes.
again, you're working with the universal intelligence. There it is. It's
Yes.
manifested.
Yes.
Those signs are cooperating with the universe.
So Sue Carson says, do you feel like you become more open as you get older?
I say
Some
yes.
people.
Some
I
people.
think, so some close up, some open. Some children are so open. Some, kindergartners, they're so open. And then sometimes you shut down a little when you're older, but I feel that I've opened up even more so
Oh,
as
with
I
that,
get
I do
older.
too. I do too. And but there again, the more people that who are older, they close down. They become
Mhm.
cynical and become
That's
angry, and
it.
they have regrets. And it's like, and you can't do that. You can't do that. Stop beating
Right.
yourselves up. One more thing. I'm sorry, Kelly. Letting go is another part of cooperating with the universal intelligence. Letting go. Being unattached to outcome. Realizing we're not
That's
in
it.
control. Hello.
Yeah.
Not being in control doesn't mean that we don't have a significant role. Indeed, our influence is part of what shapes the unfolding of whatever happens next. But that is influence and not control. So influence, not control. And
Yeah.
sometimes more, sometimes less. And always participatory, not unilateral. This also means leave behind blame and shame and reconceptualizing responsibility as our another actual role in the events in which
Yeah.
all of us have roles. Take responsibility. We're just talking about this.
That's very true. Take responsibility.
Take responsibility.
You know?
I'm tired of changing diapers. I can't do it
Oh,
anymore.
oh my God.
No more adult diapers. I can't change it. Really, that joke like, oh, I had a client, and I'm like,
Yeah, we talk
people.
about that one a lot.
Well, we did it for less with the last show we did with it. People, helping people, and they won't get it. It's like, come on, take
Yeah.
responsibility. Life's too short. Gotta have fun. Get on that ride because it's gonna be over before you know it. Right?
Yes, yes, yes. And I wanted to say this, that synchronicity was a term actually originally coined by Carl Jung, who was a wonderful psychologist. And what was so amazing about him is he was very spiritual, James. He was one of the
Mhm.
first spiritual psychologists ever
Mm,
back
mm,
in the day. I mean, really spiritual. And he talks about synchronicity as meaningful
mm.
coincidences.
Oh, it's
Meaningful.
great. That's great. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Significant. Yeah, yeah. When you get that significance and you feel it in your bones, you feel there's something there. It's like, oh, I get
Yes,
this. I'm singing this song. This appeals to me. It resonates here.
yes, yes.
Your soul sings.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my gosh. Um, this is fun. Let's see here. I
It's
choose
a great
love.
topic. I choose love. When you
Yeah.
choose love, you open the door to magic. You start life. Life's
Yes.
miracles begin with love. That's really true. I have a
Yeah.
friend of mine who I'm working with this garden, and she's so funny. She's really today's her birthday. Real quirky character, and I love her. And she hurt her wrist. She had pins put in a couple of months
Oh,
back, and I helped her with that healing it. And she goes, it really worked. A day later, the doc said, "What happens?" Oh, just there we are. And then today, sure, her wrist. Oh, you got to put that cast on, and they're gonna help you. Sure enough, he called me. They did. It's good. So we got to be open to the magic and
yes.
love. And you're not gonna have miracles if you go. Don't feel good. I'm
No,
not
you
happy.
don't.
No,
Well,
you
and
close the door.
Cindy Gonzalez says, I've been experiencing so many messages popping up. Coincidence? I think not, but they've had me so emotional. So often, what I've noticed too with coincidences or synchronicities, it will get you, it'll touch your soul. So your soul will feel overwhelmed or emotional. My niece Peggy, I have to tell you, James, this is just blows me away. As of yesterday, so it's every day it's added up. She lives on a farm down the street from me. She now has 19 red cardinals in
You
her
showed me
front.
pictures. You sent me some
And that
photographs.
was at 15. Now we're at 19. Now
Come
this
on.
just and so when I think about that, I think about God, I think about the universe. I get so excited because I know that souls are around and they want to help and they want us to lead a life of love and joy. It's
And
fabulous.
what's the totem for that? Does it?
It well, as a red cardinal is a loved one. A loved one means that a loved one is visiting, and she had 19 of them.
And that's again another way the spirit world is trying to get through to her, right? And
Yes.
so you said before about hearing, sometimes things will happen. And
Yep.
also when we're open-minded, when we're in that space of open and present moment, you give the spirit world your mind is open. You give them the opportunity to take your mind and
Yeah.
focus your mind on something. So for instance, it might be that butterfly, it might be the hummingbird, and it might be a flower,
Right.
or it might be a sign that has, someone's name on it that you knew. Or so we're open to these manifestations that really helps
Mhm.
them. Helps us
Yeah.
help them. It's
Yes.
very, very true.
Any suggestions to changing our inner dialogue from negativity? Annalisa says, ask that. Yes. Stop it.
Stop.
Stop it. You catch
And
yourself every time.
I have to ask why. Why do you put in negativity when in positivity is much it feels better? Um,
It
I,
does feel better, doesn't it?
yeah, I
To
think
feel
my friend Katrin Hall said it takes. She learned this from a scientist in a research study that was done. That one negative comment takes, gosh, it takes like 10 to 20 positive to one negative.
oh,
So imagine that. So walk
wow.
around with that. So
Yeah.
try to think of something happy and fun. I always go back to the childhood, a fun, happy moment when we're innocent and children. Sleigh riding, Kelly, you the snow. But I remember sleigh riding down to the park I had, and it was to a pond, and we used to go all the time in the snow. We loved it. It was so much sleigh riding. It was so much fun. Skating down the street, ice
Did you
skating
see
down.
the panda today? There's a
No.
panda at the new I think it was in Washington,
Yes,
DC at the
I saw it yesterday. Yes.
oh, so cute, sliding down, and when I watched that over and over and over
So
because it's
much
so
joy.
joy. Yeah.
And a puppy or a kitten, look at the joy they have.
Yes.
So when you say negative, why negative? What it doesn't get you anywhere, it stops you. It stops, it
Yeah.
halts you. So just
Well,
gotta
it
remind
does.
yourself, that's all. And after why you're doing what's motivating you to say negative things instead of positive
Right.
things?
Exactly. That's so true. Oh my
Wanna get
gosh.
some phone calls?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, yes, we have Victoria. Victoria has a question for you.
Hi,
Victoria?
Victoria.
Hi, James. Hi.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi. Hey. Hi. I've spoken to you before, actually, and I'm very mediumistic, but I'm a full-time student. And my question
So
is, how do you
wait,
control
Victoria.
your
Wait, Victoria, wait. So what does that hold you back from? When you're a full-time student and you're mediumistic, are you telling me that you can't do any mediumistic work because you're a full-time student? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's that I wanted to ask, how do you control your communications with spirit so that it's when you want it? Or what do you recommend as an approach to this
Okay, the
if
first
you
thing I would
don't
do.
want it?
Gotcha. First thing I would do, sweetheart, and you might not like this answer, but it's the one I'm going to give you because I'm old-fashioned in development. I would sit in the closet, whether it's a little, maybe you have help you a walk-in closet, or you can use it in a bathroom, and sit. We will not be disturbed by anybody but the outside, even animals, babies, partners, whatever. And you sit for 15 to 20 minutes every day before you do your homework, perhaps, and begin to sit, it's called sitting in the stillness of your being, and become aware of that stillness. And through the stillness, you'll begin to open up your soul self. And it really is that quiet that you find that the quiet is actually very loud. And you'll begin to be aware of a subtle sense around you, the feelings you have, the energy fields, colors. You'll have a different sense of yourself. You'll be able to realize when your auric field, when your soul's expanding, when it's contracting, when your whole energy field is opening and when it's closing.
Mhm.
Those are the things you need to do first. Becoming aware of yourself in that space, and then you can open up to a more of expansive in the other realms. But first, you really got to know what's going on within yourself. That would be my best recommendation. Kelly, you might have something different.
No, that's a great place to start. That's a great place to start with that one. Yeah.
But that's what I do, sweetheart. Again, that's
Mhm.
your responsibility to do that, Victoria. That's you take responsibility to do it the right way, develop the right way, not quick, slow and steady is the best way, sweetheart. If you want
And
to do
it,
it, good
I was,
way.
if you can do it correctly, that was very true, James. It does take a long time to build this muscle and to know what you're doing and to have all the tools in place. So
And if you don't build yourself up quite as
yeah.
steadily, it could hurt yourself. You could damage yourself
Mhm.
physically because you're working with the endocrine system. You're working with a hormonal system, and you got to be very, very careful. Adrenal system you're working with, so you're taxing the adrenal
Yeah,
system. So it's got to be slow and steady. Can't rush into it. Okay,
that's true. Thanks,
thanks,
Victoria.
Victoria. Okay.
I forget
Um,
about the adrenal system. You're absolutely right
the
with
adrenal
that, with
system,
mediumship.
major,
You're
well,
right.
yes, endocrine system, the adrenal
Mhm,
system. It's very, very. You got to be very, very aware of it. Some
mhm.
some mediums or psychics will actually take supplements for the adrenals.
Yeah,
People I know that work too hard and said your adrenals are going to burn out. Some
that's
of them have
right.
burned out. Some
It's
have
so
burned out.
true. So
Yeah.
true. Oh my gosh.
I'm just
What
going to read. If I just read a little bit more, because
Yeah, I was gonna say, read that. You've got some great quotes
I
from.
do. I do. I get the quotes. I'm just going to finish this guy because he's great. One part of that plan, the intelligence, is crystal
Okay.
clear. Universal intelligence is definitely concerned with more than me. It is concerned with the operation and well being of the whole, a whole so large I can't fathom it. So, opening myself to universal intelligence automatically influences me to keep my intentions for myself in perspective and sit for the whole. Different perspective. I know that when I
Mhm.
try to benefit myself at the expense of someone or something else, it's not going to work out as nearly as neatly as I think, because the plan simply doesn't operate that way. On the other hand, the closer I get to benefiting the whole, the bigger picture, the more aligned I am and become with the operations of the universal intelligence.
Oh my God. I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh
And,
boy.
Einstein was very much into spiritualism in a way. Spiritualism, of course, a great believer in life of energy. Energy doesn't die, as he said. But I have some great quotes with him. There is no logic. I have many quotes here. I have many Einstein's books. There is no logical way to discovering elemental laws. There's only one way of intuition, which is helped by a feeling for the order lying behind the appearance. So what appears to you might not be
Yes,
what you're feeling,
exactly.
and you got to pay attention to the feeling because you pay attention to what you're seeing physically, it'll throw you. How many times
Right.
have we done
So,
that one?
oh, so many, so
Yeah,
many. Oh
many.
my God, that's a great one.
Yeah,
And some of the ways that people are going to receive messages, from spirit, the intelligence of spirit, is going to be also in a dream. Pay attention to your dreams because
yeah.
your dreams are good. Are good. You're going to have spirits that'll come in and talk to you, and
Number one way the spirits communicate is a dream state, but it's also great for us to. It depends on each individual, but we can use the dream state
Mhm.
to, if we will, manifest things. To like you did, Kelly, to find out who your guide is, right?
I sure did. Yep,
So,
I
and you
sure
can
did.
actually you can really control your or ask your subconscious to
Mhm.
you can go into the subconscious and you can really become aware of the dream state many times, and you become aware of being on the other side of going to school on the other side of doing your kind of service work that you do, seeing your loved ones. There's so many things we do outside the body. It's
Yeah.
just amazing.
Yes. Yes.
We
And the
prepare
more
for a
you're the
situation,
more you're open up to this, the more it comes in
and the
for
more
you
you're
with
aligned
this.
with the universe, the universal
Yes.
intelligence. And as I read before about the humility, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know, and that's
Is that the truth?
really, really
Somebody,
true.
Laura Isaac says, can you talk on the energy field that have found, is it for the greater good or bad? I'm not sure what she means by that, but can you, about the energy field?
Well, there are many energy fields. There are many bodies that we have: mental body, emotional body, physical body,
Mhm.
the mental body, and so forth. And each field, and then it really goes into spheres and elements, if you will. Some is influenced by the different elements, such as fire, air, water. So there are different elements too. But let's just concern ourselves with this auric field, every living thing has an energetic field around it. So again, there are envelopes of these fields of energy.
Mhm.
Just say that. So in this aura, we call the aura, there are layers to the aura, and everything you think will be projected into that auric field. Yeah, and desires, goals, uh, belief system, daydreams, things you want to accomplish in your life, even past things, emotional things, mental things you're working on. It's all there. So when spirits come to see you and they come into that space of the medium, they're very aware. This is interesting. They first developed. They showed me this so clearly. When the spirit comes in, they see your physical body as kind of a cloudiness to it, but they see the auric field much more clearly,
Mm.
much more clearly, and they see your colors and your lights very clearly. So all thoughts, actions, words have a counterpart of a color and a shape. And so the loving, positive thoughts we have or we give out will create a beautiful pastelish color in there in the auric field. And any negative or dark, it'll create a darker color,
Mm.
um, a very diminished feeling. And it's interesting because happiness and joy brings an abundance to it, whereas
Yes.
sadness and depression brings very limited. And so a good clairvoyant will tell you right away what's going on with you just by seeing your auric field, by being able to read those colors and the
Yeah.
energy. A great lady who I worked with, medium from England, Mavis Patilla, Kelly and I both worked
Love
with
Mavis.
her. And I did a workshop with her at Omega in New York, and on stage she was talking about clairvoyance, and she's from England. She has a lovely accent, which I do very well with her. She says, if I come to you over there, young man, I see that your heart. She said there was your heart was. I love this. Your heart is stained, and your heart was stained, and then she's able to go to sense by reading the auric field of where chronologically it happened in that soul's life. So from the bottom to the top, it says the first 5 years, top 10 years, and 20 years. It was probably around when you're in your teen years, probably around 18 to 19, and that was it stained your heart. You go, yes, that's exactly what happened. I was 18 years old, and the first relationship I had, and it broke my heart. So it still stayed with me. And she saw it based upon the colors and the density of the energy field. And
Wow.
I teach that in workshop, how to read that way, how to read clairvoyantly and how to sense that. And everyone can do it. It's just that you can do it because we're all energy. You're just sensing energy. Every energy, the colors are great.
Right.
I'm going to be doing a new class, which I haven't told anybody yet. I just thought about it yesterday. I'm doing a class on colors.
Marvelous.
I'm doing a class on colors. I have to
What will
tell
you
my
cover?
people.
Tell us what will you cover in it?
Of course, the meaning of color is how to find your own color, natural color, your the dominant color you have, and what the colors represent, how to change colors,
Cool.
why you're attracted to certain colors in the world, like say you're attracted to purples or blues, and what is that? Because everything, of course, is every chord of music, every color, it's all a vibration. Every musical note, there's a certain vibration. So I want to go through those different frequent vibrations of the different, let's call them notes, and the colors will have that notes. So
What a
this
great
is
class.
and this is interesting in the spirit world. When someone goes to hear a concert, right? They'll go to hear, let's say, a great concert with these wonderful classical instruments, people playing these instruments. And what they will see instead of the music, not only do they see the music or they hear the music, they see the music. So what they will see about the hearing is they'll see the beautiful notes and the love of the colors, the pastels, and as the music goes on, these lovely sound, these lovely colors coming together. And it's I don't know. I guess it's like I don't know if it was like Yellow Submarine tripping on acid in the '60s.
Right.
I guess I don't know, but it's a light show, and it's just all of these blendings. And then when you have all of that orchestra coming together and blending in harmony with one. We have that. So Disney was very much involved with that. I guess it was Sorcerer's Apprentice with what's it, the
Fantasia?
Fantasia, thank you. Fantasia.
Yeah.
When I first saw Fantasia, I said, "Oh my God, this is something here." And then I saw later on when I learned about my spirituality, my mediumship, I was like, "Oh my God, this is exactly what they talk about in the spirit world, where you see exactly what music is." Fantasia is an incredible movie before its time, but Disney was definitely quite uh, highly
He was
evolved.
highly evolved.
Highly evolved. And my mother was a secretary, by the way. Just to throw that in there in New York. Yeah, when he had his
Oh
New York office. Yeah, so.
my gosh. How interesting.
I don't think I didn't use that when I first went to LA and said, "My mother didn't." Yeah, it didn't matter. Didn't matter. Although years later, there is a truck that's the name of their mother, so you never know.
I think they have a lot to do with this, James.
I think, Kelly, also we got to consider that, and everyone should consider that there's a time for everything to happen. So you
Yeah.
can't push it. You've got to be patient because there is a rhythm. There
Mhm.
is an order. If we talk about universal intelligence, there's an order to it, and we have to participate with that order. See what we're talking about here today, and you've got to be the participant. It's a dance, and you've got to be a dance partner. And
Right.
you can't demand, you can't lead. You got to be, you got to follow and lead, both back and forth.
Mhm.
It's a balance, and
Mm.
enjoy that part, that cosmic dance.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So there's an order to things.
There's an order to things. Oh, sure there is. Even the chaos that we've been through with the United
Oh,
States with the political stuff and all those other things going
mhm.
on here, and even with COVID, there's an order. And this is
Yes,
chaotic, this is crazy, but there is an order. There's a bigger picture, there's a
yes.
perspective. How do we know this is not karmic? How do we know this is when we're growing, we're letting go of things right now astrologically, right? Letting go of
Yep.
attachments,
Letting
old
go.
things, letting go of old foundations are falling apart.
That's right.
Hello. Old
Absolutely.
organization is gone, belief system's gone. It's a new
Right.
world, age of Aquarius. It's a brand new world.
5
New age.
planets in Aquarius today.
Tell us about that,
Oh, we
please.
have 5 planets in Aquarius. We have, the sun, the moon. Let's see, I have it all down here. It's a lot of them.
And it's a
We
very
have
mental
Venus,
sign.
Saturn, Jupiter, Sun, and Mercury as of today, all in Aquarius. And so that makes everything shift again. This is a big shift for this month. It's a big, big shift. It's all about, we'll see a lot of coincidences during this time, actually. I think we're going to see a lot of coincidences during this time period because things are going to change and evolve suddenly. So pay attention, everybody, to all kinds of things. This is a
Well,
big
also
time.
Aquarius is inventions, right?
It's inventions, it's new age thinking.
It's a
It's
higher
very,
mindedness.
very different. Yes,
Kelly, let
yes.
me interrupt you by saying something. I just got to hit on something. See what you think about this. So you said there'll be a lot more coincidences.
Hmm.
So maybe in this time of this energetic shift here with those Aquarius signs, planets, and those signs, higher mindedness. Maybe your more higher mindedness gets you more coincidences because you're in that higher minded state.
I love that.
Isn't that
Yes.
we were talking about that? Isn't it? I just maybe that's
That
something to do with it.
actually sums it all up. Yeah, that actually puts it all together. That's
So
it.
there'll be great inventions this time. There'll be
Mhm,
moving forward
mhm.
with a lot of things.
Yep.
Great. We have the opportunity for great humanity, doing healings
Oh,
and
yeah.
great.
And but what Uranus does, well, what this time, what will happen is there'll be a lot of new age thinking and new ways to think things, new ways to rebuild yourself. How do you want to say it? Your old thinking may shatter. We've got all new ways of thinking coming up. So this is all good stuff. So look out there, constantly look at the synchronicity that's happened, the coincidence that's happened, the new sign that's out there for you. Just keep watching. Wait till you see. It's going to be a real exciting month, as they say.
Have to restart calling you. Okay. All right. I want to read something, Kelly, if I could. This is from
Yes.
Mavis Patilla, my friend in England. She recited this poem to me years ago when she was visiting me, and we videotaped because it's so incredible. So you can always find this on YouTube. And I won't do it like her accent because I can't do that. But she's from Northern England and Manchester. It's a lovely, lovely lady, and she really is gifted the way she recites poems. So I'm not going to even pretend to do this, but it was such an interesting insight into the universal intelligence and order. And I'll try to do it the best I can. It's called The Law, and it was written by some lady named, they say, named Mary, and that's all I know about it from Mavis. So it's called The Law. The sun may be clouded, yet ever the sun will move on its course till its cycle is run. And when in its course your system is hurt and into the chaos your system is hurled, again you the maker shall create your new world. Your path may be clouded, your goal is to move on, for your orbit is fixed to your soul. And though it may lead to the darkness of night, the torch of the builder will give you new light. You slept in a jewel, you lapped in a wave, you roamed the forest, you rose from the grave. You took on strange garbs for eons of years, and now in the soul of yourself you appear. You are your own devil. You are your own God. You fashion the paths which your foot trod. You know no one can save you from error nor sane until you have listened to the spirit within. That's called the law.
I love it. I
It's the
love
truth.
it. That was
You
great.
create your destiny, and you can create
Yes.
great things when you're in alignment to your higher self, when you work with the intelligence of that. And again, we have it's a little bit we're limited in our way of thinking and our conceptualizing and our perspective because we're in this human dimension, three-dimensional world. So when we talk about seventh dimension or sixth dimension, it's hard to relate to that in this third dimensional world.
Yeah.
The closest we have is love and loving ourselves. Love does it.
Love and gratitude.
And gratitude, humility, connection and oneness.
Humility. And the more of that, the more opens up, the more you see, the more synchronicity, the more coincidences. It evolves, evolves, evolves.
And it's exciting too. It's so
Oh,
and
it's
you
so
grow from
fun.
it. You grow from Kelly
Yeah.
and I talk a lot, and we just laugh because
Oh.
so many weird things happen, great things happen, but we'll call each other, "Do you believe this? Do you believe that? Wow, how interesting. Wow." I mean, the other day I went to get a dishwasher. This is the best. This is great.
Yes.
And you gotta laugh at these things because it's like, this is so bizarre, but it's great. I went to get a dishwasher because my dishwasher broke after just 2 years. And I went to Home Depot. It's just the only thing we have where I live, and went there. And I had a certain kind of dishwasher, a Bosch dishwasher. And I asked them, and I thought it was gonna be a joke. First of all, it's gonna be a joke in here. This I'm not gonna expect anything to work freely because in the middle of this virus and whatever the COVID thing, and it's just everyone's out. It's just you just gotta have fun with it. So I wanted to have fun with it. So I walked in, not expecting to get anything. So I walked to the guy and I asked him, the man that was working there, and he said, "Oh, yeah, I can help you." So I went to his computer. He goes, "The Bosch." He goes, "Yeah, we do have. We have to order, but we can get it for you." I said, "Oh, isn't that great?" I said, "Well, okay, great. One hurdle gone, dead perfect." So he's going. He goes, "So you want this with it?" Yes. Well, no. Yes. No. Okay. He goes, "Okay. Would you like that delivered?" Yes. The other one taken away? No. That's all right. He goes, "Okay. Well, let's see. We can have it. Let's see. Our next appointment is to get it. Um, June 1st. June 1st. June 1st. Because yeah, because a lot of people are busy at home, and it makes sense. Home doing things. COVID, everything's COVID. Yeah, I said, okay, fine, that's fine. June is great. I can wash my hands. That's great. So he goes, all right. He's like, I like your attitude. So sure. So he goes, okay, June. Let me see. Huh? That's funny. I said, what's that? He goes, they won't let me get to June. It's too far out.
Oh, that's
Well,
right.
yes, that's the way we do business. See ya. Thanks.
Oh my
Good
gosh.
time.
We
We just
ordered
laughed.
we ordered our couch in October 1st, and it's supposed to arrive now at the end of February. Yay! Couldn't be happier. I mean,
It's COVID. Everything's COVID.
COVID. It's okay, whatever it is.
It's fine. It is what it is. Things that, it's that's interesting too, that things are delayed or things don't happen when we expect them. But I really believe it's the universal intelligence behind it because we don't know. It might hurt us. It might hinder our growth. So
Yeah.
let us know that something else is going on. You're being looked after. You are being
Right.
looked after. You know.
Yes.
I
Yes.
was once at I work at a workshop in upstate New York, and had to go to dinner with a person across the Hudson River, and a lady was going to drive me, and we're driving, and I said, "Oh, I forgot my keys back in the workshop room, the room, the classroom." She goes, "Okay, so I got to turn back. Yes, we'll go get it." 20 minutes later, we're back on the road, and we're crossing over the Tappan Zee Bridge, and we were held up because 20 minutes before there was a major fatal accident in the middle of the bridge. I thought to myself, "Wait a
Wow.
minute. I could have been caught up we could have been caught up in that." So, the
Right.
intelligence of the spirit world got my somehow left my
James,
keys.
that you make a really good point on that because whenever I've been delayed, I never get upset.
Yeah, there's always a reason behind it.
Yep.
Always. It's
Yep.
always, and we gotta realize that. And again, here go control again. We don't have
Yes.
control. Just it is what it is. That's all it
I'll
is.
tell you a really good one too. Years and years ago, 17 years ago, I was gonna go for a job interview, and I thought, "Oh, I get to go for a job interview." Anyway, I couldn't find my keys. My keys were always on top of my purse or in my purse. Anyway, I couldn't find my keys. I turned my purse over. I can't find them. I look all over the house. I can't find my keys. So this is ridiculous. Where are my damn keys? This makes no sense. Nobody's been in the house. I haven't gone anywhere. Long story short, I can't find the keys. I have to cancel the job interview because I can't drive because I can't find my keys. I'm pretty upset. And I said, "Oh, forget it, Kelly. Just sit down." I turn on the TV just to kind of change my mindset. And all of a sudden, this movie called Alaska is on. I'm like, what am I watching? And next thing I know, I hear this Native American flute. And I said, God, that flute sounds amazing. So now I'm watching this movie, and it's 2.5 hours. I'm watching this movie, and at the end of the movie, it says Flutes by Don Marquise. I had never met my husband yet, whose name
Oh,
is
wow.
Don Marquise. But what happened is I got a call that night from my sister who said, let's go have dinner. I'm going to have dinner with this guy, blah, 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 blah. And it was Don.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
oh, and I forgot this part. This is the best part. After the movie, I walked over to my purse and there were my keys on top.
Did spirit take them? Yes, could have. They do these
Absolutely.
things. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I believe that. No doubt about it. I've had many of those. That's an incredible experience. And you had, I mean, we're looked after in the
I looked
strangest
after.
of ways. And
I was
we
not
are
supposed to get that job.
we're held back. No, we're held back for specific reasons. Things happen. Everything happens for a reason. We may
Yes.
not
And
know it at the time, but everything happens for a reason. Hi, Mama.
if you are held back, there's a reason.
Exactly. So you got to let go of the controls. Okay, there's a bigger purpose here. There's a bigger reason. I'll find it eventually, and just go through your day.
Absolutely.
That's our friend Jordy would say. It happens for a reason. There's always a
It's for
bigger
a
reason.
reason. Yep, absolutely. Trust the delays, they say. Yes, life is happening for all of us. Yep, it sure is. It sure
Think
is.
and souls come into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. Always remember that. People come into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime.
Yes.
So when someone's
Yes.
leaving your life, let them go. That's fine. They did their thing. You had to meet for just a little bit, perhaps, and move on. So don't force that.
That's another one for intelligence of the other side. Time to go. It's
Time to
okay.
go. Be
Let it
another
go.
bus in 5 minutes. Don't worry.
Is that the truth? Now tell us, you've got your thing coming up in mediumship. No, not a mediumship. In the coaching
Yes,
series.
soul coaching. Yeah, it's on right now. So people can go to JP School of Mystical Arts and sign up for the life coach. It's a soul coaching, and again, it talks about 70 videos are in there, and all these different processes and exercises that bring you through, and it's a very in depth. Course about not only life coaching but soul coaching, going to those deeper levels of the soul, finding what that person's again, what their lessons are in this lifetime, sharing that with them, and I teach her how to get in there and look at that.
I love it. That's a great one.
And February 17th, I'll be doing a online evening for that course. Yeah,
17th, huh? That's going to
17th.
be an interesting day.
What's happening, Kelly? Please, Kelly. Yeah, the past 3 years, every time after Kelly, it's Kelly, no, no.
That's really funny, James, that you said the 17th because Saturn squares Uranus on that day.
Ah,
So that's going to be a hoot that day. Pack your patience, everybody. But it'll be fun because I'll tell you what, you're helping people start a whole new career. So that's actually perfect for that.
Kelly said something about 2 years ago before everything started, and you said, "Well, astrologically, some stuff going. It's going to be rough. It's going to be an interesting time." I was like, "Really? Yep. It's going to be an e-ride, Disneyland. Put your seatbelt on, and it has been that for sure." And I'll call Kelly. I said, "That turn happened. Oh, a dip just happened. Unexpected dips. Whoa!" And it's a ride. It is a ride, and you can't get into it. You just got to go for the ride because we've all chosen it. We've all chosen this time to be here.
We wanted to be here.
And there's a
Absolutely.
reason behind it. The other day I thought about this. We don't know what the purpose is, but we're supposed to be here. Whatever it is, we're meant to be here. We chose to be here. So your higher self chose for you to be here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just want to say this. I'm actually doing a show, actually, a
You
webinar
are.
with
Siblings.
Jen Weigel, our friend
No
Jen Weigel.
way. Jen
Yes,
Weigel from Chicago.
yes. On February 10th. It's called Surviving Toxic Relationships.
If
We
anyone
just have
knows,
a
Jen,
few seats left. Exactly.
Jen
It's going to be
Weigel is great. She's comes from broadcasting family. I met Jen many years ago in Chicago when my book came out.
you changed
And
her life, though.
changed her life. She didn't believe it all in mediumship, and then I think her father came through on the balcony of her place, and we've been friends ever since. And she wrote a play about me, or incorporated me, or
Yes.
whatever it was. And she's a great gal. She's a great
Yeah.
down to earth person, and really lovely healer.
That's gonna be fun. So we've got a few seats left for that one,
Good.
and you can see that on, I think it's on my website, or no, it's on my Facebook page, my spiritual medium Kellee White page. And the last thing I want to talk about is bad siblings, February 27th. If you've had a toxic sibling, this is the webinar for you. And
And,
who hasn't?
and Kelly, what are the aspects for your set webinar? Is that a good aspect on the 27th?
No, actually, not at all. No, actually, not at all. It's funny you would say that. I should actually check. No, there's a full moon in Virgo that night. That's very, very powerful. So we will be uncovering a lot and unleashing all of our energy that we need to
Great.
release. So
Oh,
it'll be
great.
hilarious.
Great. Well, I mean, I hope everybody got a lot out of this. I did. I thought it was great
It's
evening.
wonderful.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you,
Thank
Renee.
you, Dave. Thank you, Renee. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. God bless.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
The James and Kellee Show.